I'll be using, putting on my palette, is sap green, and we use multi-surface paint, plaid multi-surface paint. And normally when we do leaves, we, use like light green, dark green, but I'm using yellow. This is the daffodil yellow because I believe for today, you'll see the difference in colors easier when I do the turning of the brushes, and it really makes a pretty leaf as well. Again, like I say, I'll take pauses every now and then and check. Okay, the brush I'll be using is our number 12 flat brush, also plaid one-stroke brush. And as you all know, flat is a square brush with a very nice chisel edge on the top there. I'm going to dip it into my clean water on the water basin. I'm going to add, I forgot, I want to add a little bit of floating medium on this too. Sometimes when you make little longer leaves, to have a nice smooth edge, you need some floating medium. So I'm going to double load my sap green and my daffodil yellow. And I'm using a styrofoam plate versus double loader. So to do that, I personally like to do the old dip method. I dip into each color and then stroke in the middle here to get fully loaded. And fully loaded is 2/3 from the chisel up to the ferrule. Okay, let me get a little closer. Okay. Now try to keep this all in view for you so you can see my palette when I get more paint. I'm always going back and getting more paint. First thing I'll do is the slider leaf. And you don't have to do this part that I'm going to show you now when you're painting, but I do want to show you so you have a visual of what the stroke looks like and how we begin with it. So if I were using like a clock face, and here's the center of the clock, I'm going to have a guideline that comes up from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and I'll have a line that comes out at 3 o'clock. The slider leaf is different than a one-stroke leaf. The description for the slider is push, slide, lift. So as I'm painting, and I can make my guidelines with my chisel edge brush. It's push, slide, and lift. I'm starting on the very top chisel edge. I'm going to lay my brush on the 3 o'clock line, and then I'm going to push. That's my push. I'm going to keep that pressure as I slide or glide, and then I'm slowly letting it angle toward the 3 o'clock line. Let me do that again. Getting more paint. I have my first guideline at 2 and 8. I'm laying my brush down on the 3 o'clock line. Just consistent pressure. Push. I'm sliding, and I'm angling on that line until I get to my chisel edge. To show you the difference between this brush stroke versus a one-stroke leaf, this was push, slide, lift. One-stroke's leaf, oh my gosh, is push, turn, lift. Oh my goodness, I just had a brain freeze right there. Push, turn, lift. Can you see the difference? This is long and slender. You didn't have to turn. It just slightly turned or angled to the point. Where this one, I pushed and then I turned the top of the color, the top of the brush, and lifted to the point. Okay, now with the same stroke, we can make a little longer one. This was just a little short one that could go on a vine. Make it, getting more paint. So far I haven't needed floating medium. I'm using the same guideline. I'm just going to stroke a little longer. I'm starting on the chisel at 2 and 8, lying my brush on the 3 o'clock line, using consistent pressure. I'm sliding, 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 letting it come, rotate to the 3 o'clock line and pick up. So that's like a short slider leaf that you could use on vines. Okay, more paint. I'm now going to show you how you make this slider leaf going up, and this is good for like flower beds. Yeah, something like off the ground, from the basket, and it could be even from a stem. And the reason why I say that is because I am going to have a little stem to start this stroke. Start right here. So I'm going to start on the chisel edge with the green up, and I'm going to then just let it start sliding. I'm not really pushing at this point. This is going to be like the little stem part. So, but then once I do that, then I'm going to then push, slide, and let it come up, 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 up onto my chisel edge. Do that again. Come down a little farther so I don't run into something. I'm just going to let it come up a little bit, but I'm then applying pressure, letting the brush flare out. It's flat. The brush is flat on the paper, and I'm coming up and then coming to the chisel edge. I'm using my whole arm. And one thing about this kind of leaf, you want to have a consistent flow. Don't stop in the middle. I'll do it where I'm not really stopping as I'm describing. I'm starting, I'm then applying the pressure, I'm sliding up, coming up to the point, and that's the tip. So you can see how smooth it is when you're not stopping and describing. Okay, using that same method, I'm going to curve it, just curve. I'm not going to turn it, but I want to curve it to the side. So I start on the chisel. There's my little stem. Then I'm going to lay my brush down flat. I'm going to just gently let it curve, and I'm rotating it, and I'm coming up to my chisel edge. Do that again. So you can see that, always getting paint. And I do start with the green on top, because when I lay this brush down at this point, the green is on the left side of my brush. So I'm starting, laying my brush down, letting it glide, and I'm gently letting it rotate to the right and pick up. We can do it to the left. Sometimes not as easy if you're right-handed. Same concept though. Brush straight up and down. I do that little stem pressure. Then I apply the pressure. I'm sliding, I'm gliding, then letting my brush rotate up to the chisel edge. That. Okay. There's times when you may want a thicker leaf than this, what this applies. So what we could do is paint the same stroke, but on the left side and the right side. So I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to start here. There's my stem. I'm starting to slide. I'm using my whole arm, like I said. I'm not really stopping. I'm just going to lay it down, gently let it glide to a point and come up. Now I'm going to get more paint. See, now this time I want a wider leaf. So I fully loaded my brush. And here's the very tip of the leaf. I'm going to come down just a smidgen, like 1/8 of an inch. Just going to I'm putting, that's where my chisel edge is with the green on top. I'm then going to start sliding, laying my brush down, green on the outside, keeping my yellow on the edge of that prior leaf. Just keep sliding down gently, and then I come down to my stem. Now I did run out of paint because of floating medium right there. So let's do that one again. I'm on my chisel, lay my brush down, slide up to a point and stop. Get more paint. Gonna start just a smidgen below that, come down, let it slide. I'm down at the bottom and I bring down this to make like the stem. I had a little bit of paint right there, too much, so you can just sort of fix that up a little bit like that. I'm wondering, was I off camera? Okay, let me check. Oh, thank you, Mary. It's easy after you learn the 3 P's, paint, pressure, position. And so now let me do this with the curve. There's my beginning stem. I'm going to slide to the right, just like I did before. Let it glide with a nice arc like that. But this time I'm going to come back, and I'm not going to try to have the little extra blob of green on there. That's what happens there. So I made sure that I have a really nice, where is it? There, really nice chisel edge. So now I can come right underneath that, the tip, lay my brush down, stay, the yellow is staying on the edge of that first leaf side, and then come down and then let it rotate to the stem. Okay, I'll do it the other way. Same process, leading with the green, letting it slide and letting it gently curve to a point. My hand I think was in the way. I'll try to do that where you can see it better. Let me move over this way. Same process, starting with the green at the point, slide down. My brush is flat, and then I let it rotate, and then come to the point. If you miss, it's okay, because these can have stems, so we can just clean that up with the stem. Okay, now the one stroke that everyone is always interested in is the turning of the tip of the leaf. But I wanted to draw out a diagram for you, because for me, I tend to need a visual of what am I painting. When I see someone or watch someone paint, I see what I see the brush movement, but I quite don't have it in my head, the technical part of it, or exactly where is that brush, where is it turning, where's the handle of the brush, all those little like technical parts of painting. So with this bending leaf, it took a while until I finally realized I need for me to draw a diagram to start. And so I was watching the leaf, or I was looking at the leaf, and I noticed the green outside edge would come up. Here, it would come up, and then it would arc, almost like a candy cane, and then come down. Because I think a lot of people, we get hung up right here. This is the part that we can't turn that brush without looking like the leaf broke off or, got snapped. And what we want is just a nice little curve. So I sat down and drew this little diagram. And then as I paint, I realized I want my green edge of my brush to always be on this line. Now, granted, when you start doing this, you don't need to draw this line anymore, but it's always a good practice, especially if you're learning. Use those guidelines. Like when you're doing one stroke leaves or these slider leaves, it does not hurt on your project or on your practice paper to draw out the guideline. So here we go. I'm going to fully load in the green and yellow. And I'll go slow so you can see what I'm talking about when I say I like to have the guideline. Okay, so I'm going to start on the chisel like we have been doing on these little slider leaves. So I start right here. Now watch the green side of my brush. It's coming up my guideline, and I'm now laying my brush down like I did the slider point. I'm letting that green follow the guideline. But see, then when I get right here, I need to get over here. Here's where the line is. So now I push this part of the brush out. Whoops, push that part out because I need that green line, that green side to be on that side of the line. Let me go a little slower then for you. So we come up, we're coming up, and then we're doing that up and over, we're doing that arc, but now I need my green to get back to the inside edge. So to do that, I let my brush get on the chisel edge. I'm pushing the back side of my brush out. Here I go. I'm pushing that back side of my brush out and letting my green stay on that line, and then I can turn and come down. Do again without doing so much talking here. I'll just come up, I'm laying my brush down, I swing it over, I'm watching my eyes on the green because I know I want to keep it on the inside, and then come to a point. And this works if you have, you want a bin that's like this big, or if you want a bin that's little skinny, the same process works. If you just let your eyes follow the green, I'm getting some more paint here. If you let, I'll do this one. You can do it on even skinny ones. You let your brush follow the line. I'm laying it down. The green is still on that line I drew. I'm sweeping it back over, and then I'm coming back down. So then after a while, you get to realize you don't need to make that line anymore because you know where the green edge of the brush is. I'm going to come up, I'm going to swing over. I'm pushing that yellow out because I'm wanting the green to be on the inside, and then I come down. Same thing on the other side. I'll turn it this way. Let's say our guideline is that way. A little tougher sometimes because it's backwards, but just remember, keep your eyes on the green side of your brush. See if I can do this. I'm coming up, I'm laying my brush down, I'm following the green. Oh, I gotta come this way. Yes, let your green be on the outside. So then you come up here, you turn the corner, and then you can switch and come on down like that. So in this case, I had the green on the outside. In this case, well, they're always on the outside. So it's good. You don't have to think about that. Just know the green is always on the outside. So we come up, let's do it again. So we come up, I lay my brush down, I'm turning it, doing that up and over. I'm letting the yellow side sort of flick out, and then I turn my brush and then come down. So there. Okay, let me check. I was busy and didn't see it. Hi, Katharina. And Mary, oh, Mary, I'm glad you like this leaf. It's really pretty. And these are really good. I'll paint a long one. I made these short so you could see the demo, but they're pretty when you have them in your basket of flowers or whatever. So you just, it's the same thing though. I just painted the top to show you, but if we make a long one, we come up, we lay the, whoops, we lay the green down, we let the green turn, come around on the inside and then come down. So it's the same thing. You can make these as long as you want. This, when you make them long like this, you really do need floating medium. So, okay, if there's any questions, let me look and see. I think we're good. So I hope you learned how to do that, and the fear of painting that little bended leaf is gone. Okay, thank you all, and I shall see you next week from Orlando.